What's going on, Tamers? East here, aka your local Examon player, and week 3 for the BT23 Hacker Slumber set has just finished wrapping up over here in Asia. And man, it's a pretty exciting time for the game, or at least competitively anyway. Well, we've got the regional events happening in Southeast Asia with the likes of Singapore and Thailand the past couple of weeks. In Japan, the area qualifier events, which are the qualifications to the Japan finals, which is kind of like our nationals event for Japan in season 2, is happening right now. That's underway. And the results from that have been actually really surprising, considering the domination of Yugioh decks within the past 2 weeks. Side note, if you want to know more about those events happening, I've been posting up the top 4 lists from each of the tournaments that run on Twitter, so follow me there and you'll get all the updates when they come out. Keep in mind, this is not just one event, it's a series of events that happen like over the next couple of weeks or so, and so I'll be posting them up bit by bit. And I think for you folks over there in the West, store regionals and regionals are starting to pick up in pace as well, and so I think right now is the time where we're really holding this little butterfly Yugioh's feet to the fire to see if that strength is real, or we're just playing with those shiny new toys for the first couple of weeks. To add fuel to that fire though, let's take a look at a couple of event results, a couple of key takeaways, and a closer look at some of the decks that topped over the course of the past week. You know, if the Digimon card game were a popularity contest, Yugioh would be prom king, prom queen, and voted most likely to beat your ass, with the deck having another 25 wins over the course of the week. And with the same number of games happening between this week and last week, that's about still 30% of all the wins that have happened so far. And amidst new toy syndrome starting to finally die down from the new set's release, it feels like of everything we've seen so far, I can say that Yugioh and Examon are probably here to stay. Examon picking up a cool 9 wins last week, one coming from your humble Mamemon himself. But when we talk about past decks and how they stack up against the BT23 cards, it feels like Magnetic Dramon is the one that's hung on the best, and understandably so. Whereas decks like Omnimon, Royal Knights, and Galaxy Toolbox are starting to see their numbers dwindle in favor of, likely Yugioh. Despite all this though, it feels like the talk of the town last week were all the new decks popping up thanks to a Japanese player by the name of Waisuke on Twitter. He wrote a really interesting article detailing the power of the new K-Tamer and how you can use him to create alternative builds for decks like Mastamon and even Fenrir Lugamon. In the same vein though, I think a lot of players are really exploring other options for lots of decks that were around in the game before BT23. You got things like some really interesting DM toolbox lists. Dark Masters has kind of taken on some of the more controlled tools that we talked about last week with the Royal Knights deck in our member showcase. We also have some really interesting Bloom Lord toolbox, and also a really interesting Appmon list that we'll take a look at in just a moment. And if you out there don't want to miss out any new deck revelations or ideas, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Digimon card game content shuffled directly into your YouTube feed. So if you watched any of my BT23 review videos, then you probably heard me talk a little bit about the Appmon cards and trying to find a way to mix and match them outside of their intended decks. And this Gaiamon build here intends to do just that with the new BT23 Appmon cards. The idea here is actually really straightforward and really simple. You utilize some of the hard-hitting cards like the BT21 Globemon, who has security attack +1, as well as the BT23 Ojamon, am I saying that right? Ojamon, who is able to unsuspend himself whenever he's linked in order to do huge damage in the course of one turn. When you combine either of these level 5s with the new Big Bang Punch option card, which lets you link a Digimon whenever one of your Digimon suspend, you can make an attack with either of those level 5s, and then you can link another Ojamon to them to give them Sec +1 to take out 3 to 4 security in a single go. Additionally, you have the option of going into the level 6 Gaiamon in order to trash the security and then become unsuspended again. Keep in mind this Gaiamon could be a little bit pricey with a 5 memory evolution cost, considering you don't have the Charismon in the deck as a way to app use to reduce that. But you can help make up for this cost with some of the memory gain cards like the Gravity Press, the Hammer Spark, as well as the Wisteria Memory Boost. The cool thing here is that even if you don't have enough memory, you can still make a final attack if you need to. By utilizing the level 4 Coachmon's Link effect, you can just attack at the end of the turn. The deck also has some great draw power thanks to the Digitama Swipemon. You've also got the Dokamon level 3 and the Tweetmon level 3, who both let you link and draw a card as well. And there's also the list Space Search and the Perorimon, essentially letting you search 3 and grab 2. I've actually been trying this list out the past couple of days, and honestly, with how much damage it puts out in a single turn, it's really scary. And if you're also an Appmon fan, but you've been struggling to link some of these decks together, then this list seems like a good start. I'm pretty sure that everybody who saw the new BT23 Examon when it was revealed was in agreement that this card is incredible. I'm talking security attack +1, piercing, can partition into 2 level 5s when it leaves the board. It has the ability to freeze essentially your opponent's entire board. I mean 5 cards, Tamers, or Digimon. It can delete a Digimon, a Tamer, and an option card as well. Come on. I don't sound salty at all, do I? It's never happened to me, right? This card is an absolute unit when it hits the board, and it definitely feels it's worth the quest of getting to 2 level 6s to DNA Digivolve into him in a single turn. Actually, on that point, and interestingly enough, most lists I've seen are actually starting to cut the level 6s out of the deck completely, whereas the level 5 Wingdramon cards and level 5 Grounddramon cards have effects that let them stand in as level 6s whenever they DNA Digivolve into your Examon. This means you can actually skip a level, get 2 level 5s up instead, and just bing bang boom, big stupid dragon. This job is made even easier when you take a look at cards like the level 3 Dracomon X Antibody, who just at start of main phase or unevolved just lets you evolve into a Corgimon for free. And if those savings weren't enough, the Corgimon themselves let you evolve at cost -2 whenever you play any card with Dracomon or Examon in its card text, not name, text, which is basically anything in the deck. And if that wasn't enough, you've also got cards like the Jade Memory Boost and the Davis Motomiya Tamers, which allow you to gain memory in some way, either starting your turn at 3 or gaining +2, and also letting you search out cards in the deck at the same time. Speaking of draw, you've also got great draw potential using pretty much any of the level 2s or 3s, who give you could draw, search, and just draw off their inheritance effects. The BT11 Dracomon also giving you the added benefit of inheritance, giving you +1 memory whenever you play a card with Dramon in its name, which is essentially, again, any card in the deck. Both the level 5s in the deck also give you ways to actually fight back against your opponent outside of your Examon, where the Wing Dramon lets you delete Digimon who are 6,000 DP or lower, and the Ground Dramon lets you suspend something and then freeze it for a turn. The deck also has some really cool situations where if your Examon does somehow get taken out and he partitions into the 2 level 5s, you have either the Examon Ace in your hand or the Unleash the Dragon Gene option card on the board as a way to potentially go back into an Examon in the same turn. Want to talk about ruining somebody's life? Unleash the Dragon Gene, drop another Examon from BT23, and just yeet their whole board again. And if your Examon does remain on board, you've got the option of hammering your opponent even harder with the Examon X Antibody, who's going to let you basically freeze their whole board and then wipe a security and another Digimon or Tamer. And so if you've been waiting for Examon to get his time in the sun, the time is now. Each week I allow my champion level and higher YouTube members to vote on decks they want to see featured in these meta report videos. And this week they voted to see LordKnightmon. If you'd like to vote on decks that you want to see covered in these kinds of videos, as well as some other cool perks and bonuses, consider becoming a YouTube member as well. I want to give a big shout out to all the folks who do support the channel. With that, let's take a look at LordKnightmon kitchen sink mode. Look, I get it. Trying to parse this list and understand what the heck is actually even going on can be a little bit tricky, but if you know what you're looking for, it's actually not so bad. So this is a LordKnightmon list that's kind of focused on the Dark Animal engine that you've seen in the past. When you take a look at that and you separate those from all the other tech cards in the deck, which there are many of, it starts to make a clearer picture. The Dark Animal engine, including cards like Goblymon at level 3, Ogremon at level 4, Dobermon X Antibody at level 4, and the Cerberusmon cards at level 5, allow the deck to be incredibly memory efficient as a way to discard cards and play Digimon for reduced cost, or to gain memory with. From here, your level 5 Cerberusmons can pull cards back from the trash that you might find useful, as well as give Digimon Rush on inheritance when they're played by an effect. And with the Cerberus X, you can play down a level 3 purple Digimon. But with this list, you have the option of playing down potentially the BT5 Guillemon, whose on deletion effect says when he's deleted by an effect, you gain 1 memory. This honestly fits perfectly with the Cerberusmon's inheritance effect, which lets you delete a Digimon in order to unsuspend. From here, you go into your LordKnightmon at the level 6, and his ability to play down any level 4 Digimon is actually quite powerful and gets a lot of use in this list. You can choose any of the floodgates in things like the Psychemon, the Cutemon, or the Pillowmon, depending on what kind of deck you're running against. The seemingly out of place Leomon lets you gain 2 memory when he fulfills his life's mission of just dying. You've got the Deltamon who can just trash a card in hand and delete a lower level Digimon on the board. You've also got the Gatomon as a way to search even more in the deck, while also giving this really cute tech with the Lady Devimon X Antibody as a way to evolve into that for super cheap costs. With all these tech cards in the deck, you can play it out of a lot of different situations that the game might throw at you, and utilizing a really simple effect like the LordKnightmon X Antibody, it seems like a great idea. And to compound on top of the fact that the Dark Animal engine is already so memory efficient, you have tons of memory gain or cost reducing options and tamers in the deck as well. Whether it's free memory from option cards like Jack Raid or Parabolic Junk, taking advantage of some of the black cards in the deck, as well as evolution cost reduction in cards like the X Antibody Protoform and the Alice McCoy Tamer as a way to cheat memory even more. And so if you're looking to push LordKnightmon to his absolute limits, definitely give this list a try. And with that, we're going to wrap up week 3 of the BT23 Hacker Slumber meta report. Now it's time for me to go and actually do some real homework and start figuring out what deck I'm going to play for some of these 3-on-3 events that I've signed up for. I think I've got like 3 within the next 2 months. I think the easy answer is just to play Jesmon, but honestly, I kind of want to play Bagara Army or Gamamon. I think there's some really interesting and fun stuff you can do with Gamamon with how aggressive it's become and how you can like abuse the security tech plus tamers, but I don't know, I gotta do some cooking on that deck list. Anyways, folks, I gotta get out of here. Before you get out of here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Oh, I need a nap. Ugh. Whew.